full highlight of Game 4. Needed a victory, got the victory. Minnesota leading by 3 midway through the second. Anthony Edwards buries the 3. He had 17 in the first half. Luka, he'll pull. Off the back iron, no. Clean look. You know what that is. That's cash. 4-point game, under 5 to go. Mavs down 6. In the corner, Derek Jones Jr. contributing in significant ways. What a find from Luka. Same result on an incredible dime. The vision of Luka is remarkable. He had 17 points, 3 assists in the first half. We went to the locker room, tied at 49 apiece. Third quarter, Wolves down 1 and probing the defense, then with that quick burst, 1-point lead. Then this is huge. Karl-Anthony Towns, 3 of 22 from 3, entering this game from beyond the arc. He hits there, and oh my goodness, Jaden Hardy with a burst and a slam. Then it's Ant, pull up, bucket good. Wolves lead by 5 heading into the fourth. Early fourth, Edwards has it knocked away. Doncic on the move. This is insane. I don't know what's more impressive, the find or the bounce. Let's say it's a push. Luka to Jones. It's a 3-point deficit. Off the block on Ant, who's looking for a call, doesn't get it. Kyrie back the other way, Euro stepping. And the blink of an eye, that big lead down to 1. Just over 7 to go. Mavs down by 3. Good Dallas ball movement. Ends up in the hands of P.J. Washington, who ties it at 86. Karl-Anthony Towns off the screen, clean look, big time hit. Timberwolves up 2. Same guy, same result. Give me all 3 of these. And Towns, who has really been struggling, coming up huge when it matters. What a find from Kyrie down low. It's Gafford. The deficit is 3. Towns again off the give from Ant. Again he hits. He had 25 with 20 in the second half, but would foul out. Kyrie down the lane. Float game.
On point.
On point, and it's a 3-point game. And the Timberwolves had to feel like the Pacers, right? Like this is going to slip through our fingers again. No, it's not. Number 5 wouldn't let it happen. Edwards pushes the lead back to 5. It's a 6-point game late. Luka, Scott Foster is saying that's a foul and the 3. Edwards is like, what? But Luka, who was tremendous from the line in this game, misses this one. And that was a critical miss. Luka 10 of 12, by the way, from the line. Then that was kind of a wild deal there where it was a Nas bucket and afterwards point play. But in the end, Minnesota got what it needed, a win, and they can go home for Game 5. Mike Conley kind enough to join us after this victory. And Mike, you just heard me describing how similar this was to me to the Indiana-Boston series in that, I mean, Pacers got swept, and there's just no way in the world that was a sweep. This series read 3-0, but it felt so much closer than that. What was your sense as a group of how thin these margins have been and just how close you all were to what you got tonight, which was a breakthrough win?
Yeah, it's just been that. You know, the first 3 games have been decided in the last 3 or 4 minutes of the game, and we knew if we were going to have a chance to win, we had to take care of those last 4 or 5 minutes of a game. And Anthony Edwards and KAT, until he got in foul trouble, really carried us down the stretch, fourth quarter, and were able to make plays for us and big plays and kind of offset what Luka and Kyrie do. And hey, it's not a sweep. You know, we're going home, we're going to Minnesota, and we're gonna try to get this thing coming back to Dallas.
You mentioned KAT, and God knows that NBA Twitter had mentioned KAT and the 3 for 22 from 3. He had struggled, but he saw it go in, and then he saw it go in a bunch. As a group, I'm sure the belief doesn't waver, but you understand how fragile confidence can be, right, Mike? How much happiness is there among the group for him to see the ball go through the rim?
Honestly, it's just a team full of relief, honestly, because we know how good KAT is and what he brings to our team and his work ethic. And to just see him not get rewarded for the time he puts into the game is frustrating. So for him to play well tonight, finally see the ball go in the hoop, and on top of that, get us a W, man, I think it was a good night.
I think that's really instructive, Mike. I mean, he's one of the great players in the league, but I mean, confidence in anything we do in life can be fragile, can't it? It's not, I mean, it's not, we're not bulletproof, are we?
No, we're not. We're all susceptible to it. No matter how great you are, no matter how much work you put into it, some weeks just aren't your week. Some nights just aren't your night, and you have to be able to mentally get past it. And, you know, kudos to him for being able to fight through it and get one tonight.
You can only win one game at a time. Now you have that opportunity to grab another, and you get a chance to go back home. As the leader, your message to your group moving forward is what?
Hey, every game's a game 7. Every game's our last game. We have to fight. We have to push. We have to claw. We have to foul. We have to do whatever we got to do to win these games, because we can't be thinking far ahead. We can't be thinking about, you know, game 6 or 7. You know, game 5 is on our mind. It's the only one that matters. We're going to need every single guy locked in, 1 through 15. Our energy has to be at an all-time high. You know, this is a great Dallas team, and they make you pay when you're not ready to play. So, you know, we have no choice but, you know, have our back against the wall and try to go get it.
We had the young man on, Anthony Edwards, after, I believe it was Phoenix. It feels like it was 100 years ago, and he just told me, I want to kill everything in front of me. And there's so much about the guy that's endearing. His talent is obvious. We've seen Luka and Kyrie do their thing late. He had his chance to do this tonight on this stage. Mike, what have you seen from him in this postseason in terms of taking the next step in the process of whatever it is he's ultimately going to become?
I think really just owning, you know, his role. You know, he's a star, a young star in our league. He wants to be the best player in the world. In order to be that, he has to find ways to manipulate the game. And as a 22-year-old coming into the playoffs, he's had to learn a lot. He's had to learn on the fly. His ability to read double teams, his ability to make plays for his guys. I think the last few games he's had, you know, close to double-digit assists in all of them, in 7, 8, or 9, you know, in those games. And that's growth coming from a young guy who's able to score by trait. So, you know, he's just a guy that's willing to learn, willing to get better, and that's all you can ask for him at this point.
I'll close with this. I mean, you're not an old man, but you're not 22 anymore, Mike. Just the process of being a vet, being a guy that's been through it and seen stuff. How much do you just relish what it is to be that at this stage of the playoffs and what these games now mean?
Man, honestly, I wake up every day, I'm just super grateful. You know, to be in this league, to be in year 17, playing, you know, it's a blessing playing with these guys. You know, guys who really want to win, really want to work and do it the right way. Not a lot of people get this opportunity, so I come up, you know, every day, you know, thanking the Lord and just keep going forward, and hopefully, you know, I get blessed with the opportunity to you know, win this next game and keep this thing alive and keep our championship hopes alive.
I've said this many times, Mike. My grandma used to say, you stay grateful, you'll stay blessed. So I plan on doing that. I'm sure you'll do the same thing, Mike. Thanks for taking a moment to visit, and good luck in Game 5, all right?
All right, thank you. We appreciate it.
KAT with Ashley Shamady. It had been brutal. No other way to say it for Karl-Anthony Towns, averaging 15 on 28% shooting after he said he's the best shooting big man ever. Is that what he said? 3 of 22 beyond the arc. I said that a lot. In Game 4, 25, a very efficient 9 of 13, including 4 of 5 from 3. Luka nearly pulled another rabbit out of the hat, but not to be. His thoughts after the loss at home.
I think that game is on me. Just didn't give enough energy, so we got to do better. They won one game. We just got to focus on the next one. Always got to believe. I believed in the end. It was close at the end, but we couldn't. So they won the game. Like I said, we just got to focus on the next one.
Ryan Callahan, Tim Legler. Big night. We got a lot going on here in the studio. And as a guy who made his living shooting, Karl-Anthony Towns, I don't know if you ever went through a 3 for 22, certainly not in the playoffs with everybody eyeballing you after you said you're the best shooting big of all time. You know this show, right? We don't overreact and freak out and say, what's this mean? If they lose this game and he has another bagel from 3, like, I wonder if that sticks to him for the rest of his life. Yeah. This night, how significant is this night for Karl Anthony Towns?
To shed the weight of being the focus of all the conversation around why your team is struggling, because that's really kind of what happens, right? It snowballs. That's all that's being talked about. What's wrong with KAT? He's not carrying his share of the burden. To be able to shed that weight and play this way, I give this dude major props. Big time pat on the back. And look, Scott, you put up the graphic 3 for 22 in this series. Going back to the last 2 games of the previous round, he's 4 for his last 32 from the 3-point line. So you're not feeling it at all. And I actually saw him walk off a couple good looks to get downhill drives in this game because he wanted something to go in. As a result, it actually got him in foul trouble, which is a whole other component to this. Not only are you struggling with your shooting, you now put yourself in foul trouble. It completely changes your aggressive mindset. Right? You're worried about touching anybody on either end, and you can't be an aggressive offensive player either when you're in foul trouble. So to stay as locked in as he did and ready for those moments, and we're going to talk more about that later, how he got those shots, and Anthony Edwards had something to do with both of those. To stay that mentally ready and fight through it and answer the bell when your team absolutely had to have it, give him all the credit in the world, because I know how hard that is psychologically in the moment to do that.
On the one hand, you could look at this and say Dallas has the luxury. They don't have to win this game, obviously. Right. However, obviously Minnesota did it. It's over, but by rule. But by losing this game, right, now it means the series goes back to Minneapolis. Now it's like, okay, then you lose that. Now you got to come home, and now you're thinking, like, we don't want to be where Denver and Minnesota were last. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wonder how much does this loss impact Dallas in your estimation?
This was big, and you could see it. The frustration at the end of the game, Luka missing a free throw, just even how demonstrative he was toward the end of the game. He knew the significance of this. You've got to go back on the road against a really good team. And by the way, don't want to look too far ahead. They've got 2 out of 3 in their building if this thing goes that far.
I'm saying.
So these 2 series were 3-0. It's a completely different feel when you're the home team like Indiana was, you're down 3-0, right? And if you can win just a game, guess what? You go to Boston and get closed out.
Probably bye-bye.
That's different here. Like, you're down 3-0, you're on the road, you're still saying the same thing, 1 game. Just give us 1. Now you get to go back to your place. And now 2 out of the next 3, if it were to go that far, are at home. So that's what Dallas was carrying with them. That's why this was so significant. You extend it. They're going to be allowed to rest if they can close it out 5. So it wasn't a rest thing. It was, we got to get back on a plane and go back to their building against a really good team that's a higher seed than us.
Right.
And try to now win another game on the road when we've already done it twice in their building. Very difficult thing to do.
I asked Mike Conley about it, about Ant, and we don't do reasonable real well, just in anything these days. Anthony Edwards goes crazy in these playoffs, and it's like he's Michael Jordan, this and that, and he's like, could y'all stop doing that? Please don't compare me to that man.
Right.
And good for him, because he's only 22. He had a chance in the 4th quarter when it really mattered to put his fingerprints on a victory, and he did.
Yeah.
What did you see? And maybe this is the touchscreen that's coming a little bit later. We're juggling a lot here. I don't know if I'm jumping ahead, but just in those last winning time moments, the types of plays that he made show what?
It does play into the touchscreen a little bit, but I won't give it away. But just by saying that, where he impacted the game, particularly down the stretch of the 4th quarter, getting to his mid-range pull-up, he had 2 very significant shots where he wasn't trying to overwhelm you with athletic ability, and he slowed himself down, made a big bank shot, made another big pull-up. And then the fines for Karl Anthony Towns, the fact that he kept his dribble beyond the first activity that he saw in terms of traffic. A lot of times guys are going to pick the ball up in that situation. Ant kept his dribble 2 different occasions, continued to extend the possession, and it led to something really good at the end. That's going to be the touchscreen.
Okay.
So his evolution in terms of seeing the floor, Mike Conley alluded to it, that he's reading traffic better. He's reading right where the flow of the defense is and where he can go attack and make a play for somebody better. That requires a lot of poise in those situations, particularly when you're facing elimination. So he did all of those things for his team tonight.
You know how we got time for a page, we got time for a paragraph. I got time for a sentence here. Luka, Kyrie, 13 of 39. Does that say anything to you that's significant?
Yes, Minnesota's defense super active tonight. They always are, but sometimes there's a desperation level there. I thought they did a great job tonight, Minnesota, of flying around the perimeter, chasing guys off the line, and then converging, making guys play in a crowd in the paint. really, I think their nights were not just off nights. I thought Minnesota greatly affected those two guys in this game more so than they have in the first three.
You can't fake desperation, and Minnesota played like a team that knew if we lose, our season's done. They weren't ready to go fishing yet, and that means that Ernie and Chuck and Shaq and everybody, y'all got to keep working.
That's right.
Y'all got to keep working. You got to bring your ass back to Minnesota. Am I allowed to say that? I just did. In the Western Conference Finals, they improved to the Timberwolves to 4-1 when facing elimination over the last couple of postseasons, including 3-0 this year. They were 4-11 when facing elimination in all other seasons combined. Jason Kidd on taking this loss at home.
That would have been crazy.
Coach Kidd, after that Game 4 loss, what was your message to your team?
Yeah, we'll go look at the tape and see how we can get better.
What stands out in a game like this where they started out Anthony Edwards defensively on Luka, and he pretty much took the onus and said it's on him. But what stands out to you?
Yeah, I thought for Minnesota, they got to the free throw line early in that first quarter. When you look at, I think Ant had 8 free throws. But I thought, again, we took a stand, and in that second quarter we started to play better on both ends. And then, just understanding the third quarter we came out, first and third we were not very good, tonight. So we'll look at that to see how we can be better. But the second and fourth put ourselves in a position to win the game. But, we got to be better for 4 quarters. And you give Minnesota credit. They came out and fought and found a way to win.
Jason Kidd on the losing end of a game that would have been a series clincher for the first time in his career as a head coach. The 5 straight dubs in those spots, tied for the second longest streak to begin a career by a head coach, trailing only Ty Lue, who won his first 7. I think guarantees are the most overblown thing in sports media, but let's see. What exactly did Anthony Edwards guarantee?
I just love the aggression we played with today. You could tell that we had that desperation that makes us special. I talked about it in shoot around, just that desperation, playing with so much energy on defense, making those rotations, and the plays needed to win. And, the numbers speak for themselves. We showed up defensively tonight against a really great team and did the things we needed to do to win a game, especially on the road.
Mike Conley is over here, y'all. Y'all got any questions for Mike? Y'all want to ask me about Mike? Nobody want to ask me about Mike? Bye.
How about Mike, especially in the first half? It seemed like he really
is old as and he was getting downhill, laying the ball up. So shout out to Bite, and he coming in here with these clown pants on. So y'all about to see him in a minute, but that's my OG, that's my point guard. He played great tonight, and I couldn't ask nothing more from him. So thank you, Mike Conley.
Hey, Carl, what does just getting 1 mean to you? Just to get on the board here and extend the series.
We get another chance to get another one. Pretty simple.
What did you say to what did you say by the end of the game?
I think we was talking about the N1. Yeah, I think that's what we was talking about. Yeah, it was just, it was crazy.
And you told somebody in the hallway you were seeing for Game 6. You told somebody in the hallway you were seeing for Game 6. Where does that confidence come from?
What am I supposed to say? I'm supposed to say we're gonna lose Game 5? No, I'm not gonna never say that. Michael Parsons, he was rocking the AE1s, and I told him he wears size 14. I'll bring back some nice shoes for Game 6. That's what I told him.
Off shooting nights for them, they're shouldering a great deal of the burden. You don't have one other of those lob guys on your squad tonight. Any sense from Luka, from you, that they're at some point, not that the magic runs out because he's going to be great no matter what, yeah. but I guess what I'm asking is, ultimately, do you believe that he and they win this series?
Yeah, I do believe that. And look, you get staked to a 3-0 lead. These teams, it's a 50-50 type deal going into the series. I did pick Dallas to win this series primarily because I thought Luka was going to be able to operate at peak level against these particular defenders. unless they came up with some sort of a scheme to get the ball out of his hands, and they were able to rotate quickly out of it, because he beats you when you do that to him. I just thought he was going to be more comfortable than he's been in the previous 2 rounds. Physically, he looks better, and I think the matchups favor him in this series because it's more length and quickness than it is physical strength that he saw in the last round. So that's what I was leaning on because of him, his ability to operate at a really high level, and he had been. Tonight he didn't. Give Minnesota's defense a lot of credit, but some of it's always the player as well. He'd go back and you could find 5-6 looks that he's been making in this series that he did not tonight. Luka Doncic isn't going to all of a sudden start to doubt whether their team's in a tough spot. That's just not the way he thinks. He doesn't think about getting this thing back 6 at home and winning it. He's thinking about winning this in Game 5 on the road. That's going to be his mentality.
Right, and if you get Lively back in what's history, what is it, 155-0, you're staked to a 3-0 series lead. I mean, but look, all Minnesota had was one opportunity. All they could do tonight was win tonight.
That's right.
And then they go home and they'll say, look, all we can do tonight is win, and if we can do that, we send it back there. And then the conversation really starts to change because now all of a sudden the word pressure leaks in, and I think that's real if Minnesota wins Game 5.
They were a 3 seed in the West, Scott, and they're a dangerous team for a reason.
Sure.
We have seen it throughout the playoffs. This was something that they knew, get one. And now we could take this thing back home, and who knows how far we can extend this, because if it could run the table, like I said earlier, 2 out of the 3 would be in their building, but you've got to get that first one on the road, and they did it, and they're going to be a lot more confident heading into Thursday.
We were prepared to talk Dallas and Boston tonight if that came to be. Not yet.
Right.
Not yet. Ant said he's got some shoes for Micah Parsons for Game 6. We'll see if he is going to bring them back to Dallas if they get back there.